All right, hello. I just wanted to take a moment to welcome you to your week 5 learning module. So this week you're going to be learning about the ethical orientation of utilitarian, which is really, if I'm going to sum it up in just one sentence, is really what is the benefit to the majority, right? So looking at issues and trying to figure out how can I do the best for the majority of people. And so you'll be exploring that ethical orientation. And then with that, you will also be looking at organic, everything organic. So really from organic farming, the organic label, those sorts of things. So within your weekly module, you do have information related to that ethical orientation of utilitarian. And then you do have the first of several documentaries that I will be showing throughout the semester. And so I do usually just like to do a quick, this is how you log in and access this, because it is something that if you're trying to find the documentary on your own through like YouTube, you probably wouldn't be able to view the full documentary. Or if you were looking at something like Amazon Prime or Netflix or something along those lines, then you could certainly do that, but you would have to pay. So it is nice to know that I do have access to this as a CWI student. The one thing I will say is you are signing in using your username, so make sure that you're following this your first and last name at myCWI or at my.cwi.edu, and then make sure that you're following it with your normal password. So it is a little bit different than like logging into like your Blackboard and those sorts of things, because your Blackboard, you're just using your username. So make sure you're paying attention to that. So username at my.cwi.edu. And then I have to make sure that I type in I forgot that I changed my password recently. And then you will get logged in. And once you get logged in, it's going to verify it. And then it will take you directly to accessing that specific documentary. And then you can certainly watch it within the learning module. You can click the link directly out to it and then access it directly within Canopy, whatever works best for you. Just know that you do have to log in. And remember that that login is your email address, essentially. So your first and last name at my.cwi.edu. So you will be viewing that documentary, and then there are some additional articles and those sorts of things for you to view. So information from the USDA regarding the specifics around the USDA certified organic seal. A lot of people don't understand some of the logistics around that. And then some information that both supports and rejects this idea of organic farming, organic labeling, those sorts of things. So as with most weeks, I try to present you with both sides of the issue, and I try to remove my bias so that you can form an opinion that you feel you've been educated on. Your quiz this week, I just want to make sure I'm pointing this out. Your quiz is centered around that documentary specifically. So those 10 questions that are pulled for your quiz will come specifically from that documentary. So just know that. I don't know if you've noticed this, but as you're completing those quizzes, I go in order of the course materials. So I don't know if that's helpful for you as you're trying to navigate those quizzes, but there's plenty of time to view all of those materials throughout the week. You can certainly launch the quiz and have other browsers open if that's helpful, but know that that quiz is completely based on that documentary that you'll be viewing this week. Your discussion board questions are largely where you will pull in some of that other information that I've presented to you within that learning module. So this week, like I said, you'll be learning about everything as it relates to organic farming the organic label, those sorts of things. I am excited to go in and view your week 4 learning materials, especially your discussion board questions. I'm really curious what you all thought about the complexities around labeling, and really when you go to the grocery store, what those labels actually mean. So one of the questions I'm most excited to view is really what label you found, and then what you learned about that specific label. Again, I will remove my bias and try to keep that to myself. One of the things that I will say, we've talked about this a little bit, is this idea of voting with your dollar. Today I have the opportunity to go be a panelist at the Ag Forum down at the Idaho Center. There's going to be like 400 people there, the governor's there. And so it's an opportunity. The theme this year is from farm to glass. So the hop industry is there, the grape and wine industry is there. And so it's an opportunity to talk about issues surrounding agriculture, and certainly issues for a farmer, right? In terms of what we've been talking about in this class, right? And we'll get there as well in terms of soil health, drought, those sorts of things. But one of these issues, I would say, is the locavore movement, and really trying to support local farmers and voting with your dollar. So one of the things that I plan on talking about on that panel is this idea of, currently, if you look at the breakdown of $1, and I'll be sure to share this image with you, currently just under 8 cents of your dollar goes back directly to a farmer. And so as we talked about migrant farm workers, as we talked about food labeling, as we move into this idea of organic, what does organic mean to you? And then how can I vote with my dollar to support those industries that I feel really matter, and potentially influence some sort of change, right? I always tell people it's hard, right? It's hard to influence change because you feel like you're just one person. But the reality is, at the end of the day, if those issues really matter for you, that dollar is pretty powerful and is a way that you can send a message. Albeit it may feel like a small message, but if we all collectively were to do something like that, it could make a pretty big difference. So I'm excited to chat at that panel. I'm excited to support our beer and wine industries. I teach fermentation science on campus, and so it's an opportunity for me to reconnect with some of those farmers and some of those breweries and vintners who are producing fantastic beer and wine here in the Treasure Valley. So with that, I will leave you with your week 5 learning module. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out. I hope you all are doing well.